I'm going to show you 3 features of the GH5 that are just great for video. Hi, I'm Martin Keane, and on this channel, Keen on Tech, we cover technology tips and techniques. And today we are looking at 3 features on the GH5 that I find incredibly useful for video. Now, these are not like the big tentpole features like 120 frames per second. These are smaller things, but I find them very useful and I use them all the time. And in fact, I use them so often I have them mapped to these 3 buttons here on the back so I can access them quickly. The first feature is called Extra Tele Conversion, and what this does is it gives you more zoom than you actually have on your lens. So I'm using a 12 by 35 lens here, which means that my maximum focal length is 35 millimeters. But with the Extra Tele Conversion, I can actually get 1.4 times more zoom when I'm shooting in 4K, which is actually close to a 50 millimeter lens. So that's pretty cool, right? That my 35 can turn to a 50, and according to Panasonic, there is no loss of quality. So I'm looking at this fountain at 35, that's as much as I can zoom in. And if I turn on this feature, you can see now that I'm actually zoomed in a lot more at 50 millimeters. That's at 4K. If you switch to 1080p, then instead of 1.4x, you get 2.7x. So with my 35 millimeter lens, I now get a reach of 94 millimeters. Pretty cool, right? Feature number 2 is IS lock. And to demonstrate that, I'm going to use my long lens. This is my 100 to 300 millimeter. And what IS lock does is it uses the stabilization to actually freeze the frame. So let me show you an example of that. Okay, so this steeple here is at 100 millimeters. I'm going to zoom in all the way to 300. And look, first of all, if I turn all stabilization off, this is no stabilization on the camera. It's just impossible to keep it still. The image stabilization, when I turn it on, much better. But I still, without a tripod, cannot get this image to stay completely still. If I turn on IS lock, it locks it completely in place there, hardly any movement at all. It's like it's on a tripod. Final feature is Wi-Fi. Now, this isn't something that's so much great about the camera, but it's sort of a great workaround to get around the awful autofocus that is on the GH5. I use this all the time for sort of talking to camera shots like this, where I can't trust the autofocus to stay on my face. So to do that, you simply turn on the Wi-Fi signal on the GH5 and then you connect another device to it. I'm going to use my iPad. So once I'm connected, I can launch the app. That will connect to my camera, allow me to remotely operate it. So you can see now I have remote operation of the camera, and then I can control things like focus points. So if I want to focus there, set the autofocus to that. And that's a great way of managing to get this thing to focus on me without me being able to look at the camera. So that's it, 3 features that I find just incredibly useful with the GH5, and mapping them using the custom buttons I think is really a great way to get them quickly. Let me know in the comments what features you use on the GH5, particularly for video. There's all sorts of things on the camera here. But that's it for now. I'll see you on the next one.